So if you're a guy and you started to feel like women are the enemy, congrats. The manosphere marketing funnel is working perfectly on you. Not because you're evil, not because you're broken, but because you're exactly the product they're trying to manufacture and sell. Think about when this stuff first started showing up on your feed. You weren't happy, rich, in love, fulfilled. You were probably lonely, rejected, bored, maybe fresh off a breakup or just feeling invisible. Algorithms can see that in what you click and how long you watch. So at first they don't hit you with women are trash. They ease you in. Improve yourself, hit the gym, make money, be disciplined. Perfectly reasonable, right? Then it turns into modern women only want rich guys, hypergamy, female nature, like women are some glitchy NPC species running on broken software. Next thing you know, your For You page or recommendations are a conveyor belt of dudes screaming into mics about alphas, betas, high-value men, body count, and how feminism ruined everything. You didn't search for a cult. The platform did that matching for you because it's extremely good at noticing when hurt people will binge angry content. And here's the part that actually makes sense. At first, it feels good. It feels like someone finally gets how pissed off and powerless you feel. They hand you a simple story. You're not the problem, women are. Feminism is. Society is rigged against you. That's way easier to swallow than life is complicated and you need skills, patience, and therapy. They also hand you a tribe. Suddenly you've got this whole language: red-pilled, blue-pilled, simp, beta, sigma male, lone wolf. It's like a secret club. You're not just some dude with no dates. You're part of the enlightened few who see the truth. But look at what that truth actually does. It doesn't get you healthier relationships. It makes you more suspicious, more bitter, more convinced every woman is a gold-digging liar. It doesn't reduce your anxiety. It turns every interaction into a test where you have to prove you're the dominant one or you're a loser. And meanwhile, while you're drowning in all that, somebody's cashing out. These guys aren't doing this out of kindness. They're running a business. You get a free hit of outrage on TikTok or YouTube, then there's a link. Join my course, private Discord, exclusive game guides, bet on sports on this site, sign up for this crypto or casino. They're not building men, they're building customers. The more miserable and angry and addicted you are, the more hours you watch, the more upsells you click, the more they get paid. If you actually got healthy, confident, and in a good relationship, you'd stop needing their content, and that's bad for their bottom line. And it's not just about men feeling bad versus men feeling better. There's a whole other side of this that you don't see if your feed is all dudes with microphones. The girls and women on the receiving end of this stuff. For a lot of women, being online now means budgeting for abuse. Polls in the UK and elsewhere show big chunks of Gen Z women have either left platforms, gone private, or stopped posting certain things because misogynist comments and DMs are constant. Not one rude comment, we're talking daily hate, sexual threats, being called slurs, dogpiled just for existing. That doesn't just hurt feelings, it hits mental health. Surveys of women who've been targeted with online misogyny find majorities report anxiety, panic attacks, and hits to self-esteem. And a lot of them describe feeling powerless or unsafe in spaces that are supposed to be public squares. If you're a teenage girl waking up every day to kill yourself, you deserve what happens to you. That's not free speech. That's someone slowly convincing you shouldn't be seen. And then there's a spillover into offline life. Violent misogyny linked to manosphere spaces has already shown up in real-world attacks and in a general rise in threats, coercive control, and entitlement toward women. Teachers are reporting boys parroting "women belong in the kitchen" and "you can't believe" accusations, as if it's just banter, while girls in those same classrooms shut down and stop speaking. So when a guy tells himself it's just jokes, it's just dark humor, nobody's actually getting hurt, that's just not true. Women are changing how they dress, what they post, which careers they take, and whether they even want to be visible because they know there's a mob of anonymous dudes ready to tear them apart for sport. That's not men taking back power. That's half the population getting pushed off the digital map so the other half can feel big for 5 minutes. On the guy side, it's wrecking people quietly. You get higher anxiety, worse self-esteem, more fear of rejection, more social isolation. When your brain is soaked in "all women are hypergamous trash," how are you supposed to trust anyone long enough to build something real? That's a mental health crisis disguised as self-improvement. And here's the sickest part. A lot of those alpha gurus don't even live by the code they preach. They're in long-term relationships, they're married, they have teams editing their grind set clips while they negotiate brand deals. The whole "I don't need anyone, I'm a lone wolf" thing is just a costume they put on to sell you a fantasy. So what do you do if you're already halfway down this rabbit hole? First move is not hate yourself for falling for it. You got targeted because you were in pain. That's what predators look for. You're not the first, you won't be the last. Second move, test what happens if you starve the algorithm. Mute a bunch of key terms for a week. Unfollow the loudest manosphere accounts. Start actively clicking on stuff that's about actual skills: lifting, cooking, finance basics, mental health. Creators who talk about masculinity without turning women into enemy combatants. Watch how your feed changes. Third, bring some of this offline. Join a gym, rec sports, a class, a club, literally anything where you talk to real people and not just dudes yelling into a ring light. Real confidence doesn't come from memorizing frames and tests. It comes from repeatedly doing hard, boring things and realizing you didn't die. And finally, look at who actually benefits from you staying angry at women forever. It's not you, it's not women, it's not society. It's a handful of guys who figured out that if they turn your loneliness into a permanent war with half the human race, they can monetize you for years. Once you see that, it stops looking like truth and starts looking like an actual scam. You're allowed to be hurt. You're allowed to be lonely. You're just not obligated to stay trapped in someone else's sales funnel dressed up as masculinity. You can see the pattern. Lonely guys get harvested for outrage, women get hammered with the fallout, and the only ones who consistently win are the guys selling the poison. If your self-improvement journey leaves women more scared and silent and leaves you more paranoid and alone, that's not empowerment. That's collateral damage, and you're the weapon.